broke, trying to finish college, unemployed, and bitchless. Those are the 4 things that sum up what I've been doing for the past few months. Honestly, forget months, years, excluding the bitchless part, which I kind of already talked about in my last video. I've never talked about how I've always been unemployed. I haven't tasted the fruit of my own labor a single day in my life. And all of this came from a promise of being rich and successful if I just pursued a computer science degree, right? Everyone's been saying it for years. Back when I was applying, it was all, just learn to code, bro. Do computer science. You'll work from home, make 6 figures fresh out of college, writing 3 lines of code a day. AI is the future, bro. There's a massive demand for computer scientists, software engineers, data analysts, cybersecurity guys, whatever. And guess what? I fell for it. I declared my CS major, walked blindly into the tech industry, and thought I was securing my entire future. Now, I'm in my 4th year, and to be real with you, I'm scared. I have a CS background, and let me tell you, the reality of entering this job market is not 6 figures and drinking kombucha. It is an absolute fuckfest. Nobody, and I mean nobody, out there wants to give you a job. Nobody. They either hit you with an instant rejection, or they just ghost you entirely. And I want to tell you how I completely fumbled 3 years of college, almost lost my mind, and what I'm actually planning to do from here on out. So, why is the job market such a shit show right now? It's not just exclusive to CS, but like it's the worst in CS. And in theory, there are countless open positions, countless roles, and a job board for every corporate portal on the planet. But the silence I've gotten back from these companies has been absolutely deafening. Or if I'm lucky, I get an automated rejection letter sent at 3 a.m. from a no-reply bot account from some clanker, not even a real person, hitting me with the good old, after careful consideration, blah blah blah, you're not a fit for this role. Nice. So I ask you, what is a fit for the role? What does that even mean? Honestly, I don't fucking know. And at this point, I don't even care. Because I've realized that trying to force myself into this box is so dumb. I hate learning about CS. I don't even know why I'm doing it. I mean, look, I'm good at learning, but if I'm forced to learn something that I absolutely hate, something that I have zero passion for other than making money, I might be able to pass or like on a good day do better, but I'm not actually absorbing anything. I'll apply fucking nothing from what I've learned. And that's because I don't like coding. Yeah, I don't like coding. But the one thing I do appreciate about this whole field is how systems work. It's cool when you design a system that takes instructions and bridges the gap between what a user wants and what a computer understands. And I love the architecture and design of it. Architecture, design, architecture. Why do I love those 2 words so much? Because that's what I actually give a shit about. That's what I've always wanted to do. I don't want to analyze code or do automated coding assessments, but I love creating things. I love planning things, and I love designing things. And at first, failing those coding tests and getting constantly rejected really demotivated me. And I've never even made it to an interview stage, I'm gonna be honest, because nobody gave me the chance. It reinforced this horrible notion in my head that I just wasn't capable. I just sat there thinking, man, maybe I'm just such an idiot. Maybe I'm not cut out to do anything in this field. But then I started looking back at what I actually love doing. So growing up, my biggest role model was my dad. And, well, he still is. And he's an architect, and he's not just any architect, he's incredibly skilled, and he's a respected guy who designs really cool stuff, okay? But beyond being an architect, the guy's also kind of a genius, man. And growing up, I naturally fell in love with the concept of drafting, planning, and designing, I guess, because of him. And, well, whenever I had a science fair or a school project, I'd always go to him and we'd sit together, brainstorm ideas, and build cool things. I loved those father-son bonding moments, and it completely solidified my dream. And I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So when I got to high school and I started looking at colleges, all I wanted to do was apply to architecture school. But my dad, well, he had other plans for me. He sat me down and literally told me, son, do not do architecture. He told me the market was overly saturated with junior architects, and the competition was brutal, and the pay starting out was terrible. All these different reasons. And, well, the biggest of them all was he genuinely believed that I wouldn't be able to make much of a career out of it. So hearing that from my own role model when I was barely 16, it fucking broke me. I thought he was telling me to my face that I wasn't good enough for it. So I accepted it. He told me to look into computer science as a viable second option since I was always tech savvy. I thought, okay, cool. I'll learn to code and then I can design stuff on a computer. Well, after spending all that time and money on these bullshit classes in university, I realized that it was nothing like what I imagined. I listened to my role model, put my architecture dreams aside, and chased the future in CS. Little did he know, little did I know. Sure, I dodged the low-paying architecture bullet, but I ran face first into an entry-level CS market that is being actively cannibalized by AI. The funniest part of all of this is that the only thing that kept my attention during this entire degree in university was game design. And game design is also taking a massive hit right now. With studios closing, Xbox and PlayStation shutting down companies, employees getting laid off, while fucking AI keeps growing bigger and bigger. And I don't mean game design because I want to make stupid, sweaty competitive games like Fortnite or Marvel Rivals or whatever. I actually hate those. I'm talking about single-player, atmospheric games like Resident Evil, where you actually get to stand there and appreciate the pure detail, the level design, and the architecture of every location. I don't want to spend 6 hours debugging a missing semicolon. I wanted to understand software and game architecture, the flow, the structure, and the blueprint of how these virtual worlds are built. So even in CS, I was trying to be an architect all along. I was just doing it inside a virtual world instead of a physical one. Because I hated what I was learning. Because of that, my brain completely checked out. So, like I've mentioned a million times before, academically, I'm smart, right? I can learn things. But my shittiest flaw is that I physically cannot force myself to excel at something I genuinely despise. Because I felt like I was wasting my life on things I had zero interest in. And well, what do you know? I just completely shut down. I stopped being creative, I stopped drawing, I stopped doing anything that brought me joy, and instead I escaped. I got addicted to playing video games, those shitty video games that I hate, that I was talking about. Started streaming on Twitch, and surprise, surprise, I fumbled really hard in university. My grade slipped, I failed a class, and I got stuck in this deep, dark shithole. Well, eventually, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, that's it, bro. I need a dead-ass lock-in. I retook that failed course, I put my head down, managed to pull a B, and decided I was just going to grind through this degree and get it the fuck over with. And then I got to my third year. So in my third year, I had some room for electives. And I decided to take an introductory course in, guess what, architecture and design. And it hit me like lightning. That class reignited my passion instantly. I realized I hadn't lost my creative spark, but it had just been suffocated under a mountain of bullshit CS classes. And so I realized again that being creative is truly my biggest superpower, and that if I'm not using it to bring my own ideas into the world, then, well, there's no point in whatever the fuck I'm learning, right? So, looking at this broken CS job market and looking at my newly reignited passion, I ended up making a decision. I'm not going to spend my entire life begging recruiters for a job I hate doing. Instead, I'm going to use my CS background as a tool to build my own path. So, after my third year, everything shifted. I realized that life is way too short to spend your youth doing things that drain your soul, and that you have to follow your own passion whenever you can, especially when you're young. So, beyond my career, I started doing things I actually love again. Like I picked up photography, I got into videography, I started playing guitar, recording music covers, and editing videos for them. So, you know, doing videography with my music. And now I'm just making videos on YouTube talking about stupid shit. Just like this. I'm not doing it for money or clout or a resume line, obviously not. I'm doing it purely for the love of the game, baby, and to satisfy my own creative desires. But honestly, I really deeply appreciate anyone who takes a moment out of their day to watch and support what I do, no matter how small it seems. To the people who subscribe to me for my last video, even if it's literally 6 people, I appreciate you guys so much, and thank you for taking the time to watch. Anyways, back to the topic. Despite my hatred for coding, I'm not throwing my degree away. I'm actually doing great in college right now. Well, I'm landing straight A's, and I'm planning to graduate with flying colors, baby. But I do need a job short term just to get some capital, stabilize my life, and, you know, build up resources. So I'm giving myself a maximum of 2 to 3 years in the industry before I transition. My long-term goal is to build a portfolio and get a professional master's degree in, well, guess what? Architecture. In fact, I'm currently working on a personal project that bridges both my worlds, CS and design, together. It's not a game, but it's something ambitious. Nobody's ever tried it before, or they have, but it's to varying degrees of success, but I want to try and make it work. It's the foundation for a tech business that I want to launch down the line. However, I am keeping the details secret for now because, well, good ideas are expensive, but I'm actively building it. And honestly, realizing why I hated CS so much was a huge eye-opener for me. Like I said, I'm good at learning, but coding felt like being forced to lay bricks all day when all I wanted to do was design the building. There's a massive difference between being a coder and being a software architect, or just architecture in general. Coding is syntax, debugging, and fighting with bugs for 6 hours straight. Architecture, or rather computer architecture, is system design, structure, and figuring out how components talk to each other to make a user's life easier. When I look at coding, my brain doesn't think in rigid linear logic loops because I'm not a naturally logically sound person. I actually like exploring weird, unconventional paths. In pure code, exploring a weird path just gives you a syntax error or breaks the program or some shit. But in design and architecture, exploring weird paths is literally how you invent cool stuff. Constraints in design aren't meant to stop your imagination. They're just boundaries to help you focus on what you're trying to build. By the way, I learned all this from my elective class, so I'm basically giving all free information, so yeah, you're welcome. At the end of the day, though, my ultimate aim in life is to follow my passion, build cool things, and make my parents proud, and eventually retire them so that they don't have to work anymore. Most people don't ever get to pick what they love to do. A lot of people don't even realize what their passion is until it's way too late. But in reality, good things come to those who wait. So what if you're 25 or 30 and broke and feel like you haven't accomplished anything yet? Trust me, being patient and taking the time to realize what you actually want to pursue in life is such a cool process. Until you figure it out, you get the absolute freedom to try out a bunch of really cool things. And you can do all of them at the same time. You can pick up a camera, play an instrument, build a project, try a new hobby. And these are things that I've tried in my own life. So honestly, being unemployed isn't even a bad thing. I mean, unless you gotta pay the bills, yeah, obviously you kind of do need a job. But if you really think about it, having that time and being unemployed is what will truly give you the space to try out new stuff and discover what you actually love to do. This is the advice I got from the second role model of my life, my mom, and I know she's right. I know goddamn well that she is. When you look at how society sets us up, college is sold to us like this ultimate, infallible investment. We're told to sign away tens of thousands of dollars, take on insane debt, or burn through our savings just to sit in lecture halls listening to professors who haven't worked in the modern industry in like 15 years. Like shit, bro, you pay all this money expecting a golden ticket, only to realize halfway through that YouTube tutorials, open source documentation, and actually building things on your own time teach you 10 times more than a 4-year degree ever could. Like, I'm talking about CS here, but this applies to anything in general. The degree isn't even about the knowledge anymore. It's literally just an expensive piece of paper you buy so you can pass an automated corporate filter. And then, while you're sitting there struggling through these outdated classes, you fall right into the comparison trap. You open up LinkedIn or Instagram, and your feed is just filled with 21-year-olds posting, "I'm thrilled to announce I've accepted a senior lead engineer position, making $200,000 at a FAANG company, while living in some aesthetic, high-rise IKEA furniture-looking ass apartment." It makes you look in the mirror and feel like an absolute failure. But what nobody talks about is that 90% of what you see online is either fake, hyper exaggerated, or backed by rich parents. Comparing your raw, messy, behind the scenes reality to everyone else's curated highlight reel will completely poison your brain and keep you paralyzed from doing anything at all. That paralysis is what stops people from trying new things. Because when you decide to pivot, you're going to do bad at first. Your first 10 videos, your first 10 photos, or your first 10 designs, or whatever, are going to suck compared to the vision in your head. Most people quit right there because their taste is higher than their skill level. Does that make sense? And their ego can't take making hot ass garbage. But you have to give yourself permission to make trash in the beginning, like absolute trash, dog shit content or whatever, just to get those bad ideas out of your system. My first edits were messy, they were rough. Probably these videos are probably messy and rough and ass. Like, they're so low effort and low quality, but I don't care. Because in my head, shipping something bad is infinitely better than perfecting nothing. You have to embrace sucking at something new, before you can ever become great at it. So to wrap everything that I talked about so far, I guess I'll leave you guys with this. In conclusion, if you're stuck being unemployed or trapped in a major you hate or whatever, just know that it's not the end of the world. Find what you love, capitalize on what you're good at, and put the work in, baby. I fumbled a lot, okay? But I'm done falling into the habits that once broke me. If I fail, I'll just keep trying until I succeed. Because this is gonna sound corny, but nothing in this life comes for free unless you work really hard for it. Unless you work your goddamn ass off for it. And, well, that's all I want to leave you guys with. If you made it all the way to the end of this, and if you made it all the way to the end of my last video, and if you subscribed, thank you again. It means a lot to me, and I love each and every one of you. I love whoever hasn't watched this video until the end as well, but like not as much as the others. I'm kidding. I love everyone. And thank you for listening to my shitty rant. Peace.